the Super Bowl edition of Archfiend and Crixus pick football games for you. Excuse Crixus while he takes a refreshment break. To start things off, I just want to say thank you to Undertaker Freak. He and I got together along with Girlfiend. We had a great time in Philadelphia the other night, and even had a great conversation with the fine people of Philadelphia on the corner of Gay Street. Yes, the actual street was called Gay Street. Undertaker Freak actually has a picture of the sign. He might have posted on his Facebook or anything. But anyways, just like the total irony, we made a gay video and then we go to eat and drink at a place that's on the corner of Gay Street. We didn't realize that till we left the place. So anyway.
No, I told you guys beforehand.
I didn't catch that. But anyway.
No.
Good job. That's a great story now, Girlfiend. Thank you. Seriously, I didn't realize it was called Gay Street till after we left the place. If anyone out there wants to try a good beer, try this beer. As a matter of fact, if you get a hold of this beer, record yourself drinking this beer. Oh, look at that. Crixus loves it too. Look at that. Drink up, Crixus. Drink up. Ah, I shouldn't be. There's no beer in here. Anyway. This beer is so good that I want to see someone like make a reaction video of it. Anyways, this is what the beer is called. It's Firestone Double Jack. It's a double IPA. The alcohol content is 9.5. Anyway, this beer is so good. Is this beer not the best beer you've ever had, Girlfiend? Girlfiend?
What?
Is this beer not the best beer you've ever had? That's how good it is. She's stunned silence, and she's really adding to the production value of this with her silence. Anyway.
Hey, excuse me, I didn't know how to respond.
It basically, the beer was so good that it took her breath away. Anyway, literally. That aside, thank you for coming up, UTF, and hopefully we can get to do that again sometime soon. Alright, on to football! What we're here to really talk about, football! Super Bowl Sunday's coming up. It's the Baltimore Ravens versus the San Francisco 49ers. I guess this is the second to last football video I'm going to make here for you guys this year. Well, this season, I should say. It's been a pretty good season here so far. If I could take a moment to gloat here, my playoff predictions thus far, I've only picked 2 games wrong the entire time. 2. And one of them was a technical reversal that I made after I shot the video, which was that game where I forget, I even forget the name of the quarterback that came in for the Vikings. But anyway, once it was announced that they were going with a backup quarterback that hasn't played a single snap in years, I was like, well, there's no way the Vikings are winning this game. It's gonna be a rout. It's going to be a rout by the Packers. But anyway, but I don't care. I said it on the video that the Vikings were gonna win, so I'll stand by that. That counts as a loss. And the other loss I had was saying Seattle was gonna beat Atlanta, which, in all honesty, we know Atlanta should have lost that game. But that being said, I've only got 2 games wrong, Crixus. 2 games wrong, all the playoffs. And you've been terrible, Crixus. Your picks suck. You got like 10 games wrong. Yeah. Which I think is all the games that have been played so far. Anyway, have fun staring at Crixus's tail. I gotta tell you, this is one Super Bowl where I am so torn as to who I honestly think is going to win this game. More torn than I've ever been as far as looking at 2 teams in the Super Bowl. It's usually one is a heavy favorite and you're like, oh, yeah, that team's going to win. Oh, sorry, some of that Firestone just came back up. Now, there are legitimate reasons why you could say either team can win and either team can lose. But before I get into the game breakdown, there's been a lot of shit that's been bubbling up leading up to the Super Bowl game itself, which usually tends to happen. One of which is this deer antler shit that Ray Lewis supposedly took to help heal his torn tricep. And for those of you who don't know, there's like people that refine deer antler hormones or whatever because some deer up in Maine, their antlers are the fastest growing anything as far as, you know, a living being goes. So if you harness that and a human takes it in, it therefore helps you regenerate fibers faster and all that shit for muscle and helps you heal quicker. Yeah, that's
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's why the NFL bans it. Anyway.
I'll take it.
Well, it really wouldn't work too well if you're fully formed. I think that's the thing. But anyway, so Ray Lewis was supposedly outed, ironically on Media Day, or coincidentally, no real irony to it, coincidentally on Media Day, and there's a big hubbub about this, and the NFL doesn't test for this deer antler spray, and there's a component in the deer antler spray that's on the banned substances list, but if they don't test for it, it's like, well, why are we making a big deal out of this? But he obviously took it to help heal the arm, but he's denying he took it, and it's to the point where I would say, look, if you were in Ray Lewis's shoes and you had an injury that you wanted to heal, can you blame the guy for doing it? Does it make it any less wrong? No, it doesn't. This is a guy in the absolute final year of his career, and I was talking about this with Dave the Useless, and he mentioned to me, he said, it makes you wonder if maybe this is why he is retiring, because he made no mention about retiring up until it was like week 15 going into the playoffs, saying like, yeah, he's going to come back to, play in the playoffs for the Ravens, or was it like week 16? I don't know. Anyways, he came back to the play. Crixus, why did you get so uppity all of a sudden? Did girlfriend give you deer antler spray? Anyway, what's Ray really got to fear? He knows, like, if he could take every steroid in the book right now, every hormone, every whatever else to get a competitive advantage, and he's not going to get, suspended because the players' union is going to hold it over to say, well, we'll deal this, we'll resolve it next year. But it's like, well, if he's not playing, what the hell is the use of a suspension in the following season going to matter? So you got to wonder what's really going on there, and if it should really matter at all. And the reason why I could just care so little less about this is it's not really like he's that impactful of a player on the field. I would argue that the secondary coverage, the center of the field run stopping is weaker with Ray Lewis in there because he is far from a playmaker like he used to be. But anyway, that's that. What else? Actually, I have a list of things here. Oh, Joe Flacco. He's in the hot seat now because he said the word retarded. A news reporter asked him on Media Day, what do you think about, the Super Bowl being in New York next year, or it's New Jersey, and because, the weather this time of year is pretty shitty, except for today where the windows are open and it's 60+ degrees outside.
67 according to my car.
That's insane. Anyway, Joe Flacco was asked, what do you feel about there being, a game, a Super Bowl being held in the Northeast next year? And he says, oh, that's retarded. He says, like, but he caught himself right away. He goes, no, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. It's a dumb idea, and unless you're in a domed stadium in the Northeast or in a cold weather climate for February, you shouldn't have the game. Now, I agree with all that. Should he have used the word retarded? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But the thing is, he's getting so much heat for this, but he caught himself right away, and I don't know how you can't examine the context of this. If it was something like saying, like, well, what do you think about, San Francisco 49ers running back Gore? And he'd be like, well, I think Frank Gore's a retarded baboon. Like, if he said something like that, yeah, that's a really big insensitive comment. But he's saying, like, the concept of holding a game in a cold weather climate for the Super Bowl is retarded. It is, according to me, but anyways, it's a bad choice of words, and the fact that Flacco is getting flack over this is ridiculous. Yeah, anyway, they should just stop really caring. And again, he caught himself right away. The second he says, he goes, no, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, and he changes his wording. Randy Moss! All right, let's jump to the 49ers side of the ball. Randy Moss came out the other day and said flat out that he is the best wide receiver to do this, to play the game of football. Now, he's a phenomenal receiver. No one's going to deny that. I would say he's one of the top 5 greatest receivers of all time. But for him to come out and honestly think that he is the greatest, doesn't even say that he's one of the greatest. He says he's the greatest receiver to do this. You've got to be kidding me when there's a man named Jerry Rice that just dominated this game well before you. Does Randy Moss have better hands than Jerry Rice? Probably so. But you know why that is? It's because Jerry Rice's hands are weighed down by all those rings on his fingers, and Randy doesn't have any. You can use that joke, by the way. I thought about that when I was jogging today, and I came up with that. Anyway, Randy Moss, you have no championships, and you're also labored as a quitter multiple occasions. Do you remember the time you had on Oakland? Do you remember your final year in New England, and then you got bounced around through 3 teams that year, to the point that you were unhireable last year? To the mediocre season you had this year, that you're barely relevant, you're barely a third receiver. Now, the one way that I do like this is I could see this as a self-motivation thing. Like, he's going to see, if he's going to convince himself that he is the best, he has to come out this Sunday and be the best. He has to just blow the doors off the building, show people that, you know, this Jerry Rice is like a Jerry who? Look at this Randy guy. Oh my God, he put up over 200 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns against the Ravens. If he does something like that, I'll be like, oh, wait a second. Wow, he just basically dominated a Super Bowl. If he does that, till you do, Randy, till you show us that you can be on a team that wins a championship, I don't know. I mean, again, maybe he's just saying that to self-motivate himself, to bring his A game. Anyway, now let's just get to the game here. Who do I think is going to win? I can tell you right now, both teams have had almost equal stretches of ineptitude. The Ravens got to a point that they were 9-2 this season, and then went on to lose 3 games in a row, and then all of a sudden it's like, uh-oh, this team was pretty much, you know, killing everyone in the path, and all of a sudden they put together a 3-piece losing streak. They even went as far as to fire their offensive coordinator, Cam Cameron. And I'd be interested to know this. I don't know if anyone out there knows this. I haven't heard anyone say this. Has there ever been a Super Bowl winning team that fired one of their offensive or defensive coordinators in the same season? I'd be curious, because it usually takes a pretty shocking turn of events in the season to fire one of your coordinators. And the fact that the Ravens did this showed that this team isn't fucking around. They know they're on the precipice of being a championship team, and here they are in the Super Bowl. They said, we think Cam Cameron's dragging us down. He's holding Flacco back. His play selection sucked. Kicked his ass out of town. That is why Baltimore is a franchise that is in the place where they're at. Because they have their mindset on a championship, and they're not going to dick around along the way. And that's why they deserve to be where they're at, and that's why they are where they're at. Because they're a franchise that knows how to get it done, and they deserve to be where they're at. Now, San Francisco, I mean, you could say, well, this team is so good, and Kaepernick's great, and Alex Smith was great the first half of the season, but what happened with the Rams? They lost to the Rams, they got a tie to the Rams. For whatever reason, the lowly Rams figure out a way to just slap this team around and really have not much of a problem doing it. Like, what happens there? And going even to the NFC Championship game, that game should have been at least a 4-touchdown victory for the 49ers over the Falcons. When you get 2 key turnovers in the second half, one of them results in a 38-yard field goal attempt that David Akers just bonks off the left upright. And then the next series, you get the ball back and you fumble on the 1-inch line. I say to myself, I go, is this a championship team? Is this a team that's going to win a championship? I have that question with both teams, because the Ravens are a team that lost to the Steelers this year with Leftwich, a quarterback. Leftwich, a barely third-string receiver, quarterback in this league. My God, we have a Byron Leftwich sighting, running all over, had like a 12-yard rushing touchdown in that game against Baltimore. It's like there's no excuse for shit like that. There's no excuse for the 49ers not to shove the ball down Atlanta's throat when they give you 2 key turnovers in the second half. Both teams can just totally roll over and die, and I can tell you, Flacco is due for a shit fest. My God, he's playing too good for too long, and it's just time. I just feel it. I just feel it's that time for Flacco to have that game where, oh, he just barely throws for 50%, has a couple interceptions, because at this point he doesn't have any interceptions in the postseason. But as I said, San Francisco, going back to their NFC Championship game, did that look like a championship caliber team to you? The Ravens did over the Patriots. So, all that being said, what is really going to happen in this game? Well, I think Randy Moss is going to get shut down. I see him getting maybe 40 yards receiving. I see Gore getting over 100 yards rushing. I see Kaepernick having a very decent day. I see him getting a rushing touchdown at some point, passing for another touchdown. Get about 250 yards in the air, maybe another 60, 70 on the ground rushing. As for the Ravens, I see Flacco throwing a pick or two. I see Flacco also throwing for over 300 yards. I see him with a pair of touchdowns as well. I see Ray Rice getting 100 yards to match what Gore did on the opposite side of the field. And I see David Akers not being able to make one fucking field goal in this game. And I see the final score of this game. It's going to be a close one, people. I see the final score of this game. 24-21. Your Super Bowl champion is going to be... Can I tell you guys a story real quick? I wanted to make this video with Crixus. It was like a day in the life of Crixus video, and I think it's going to be... Okay, alright. Anyways, the winner of the Super Bowl is going to be... Who do you think the Super Bowl winner is going to be?
The Colts.
The Indianapolis Colts. You had it. Which is also the team that left Baltimore some years ago, which is now the new team that is there, the Baltimore Ravens, which, coincidentally enough, is your 2013 Super Bowl champion. The Baltimore Ravens, take your life savings and put it all on this game. The Ravens are a 4-point underdog, which means nothing. What really ultimately made me want to pick the Ravens in this is, number one, Flacco is really coming into age. He's a guy, and I'll admit that I was wrong about this guy. I said this guy is no better than a Donovan McNabb. He's a guy that's going to win a lot of games but never win the big game. But we'll see if he does that. I said to myself, what is a harder game for the Ravens to win? Playing Denver in Denver, playing the Patriots in New England in the AFC Championship, or beating the 49ers in the Super Bowl? I think the two previous games are both harder games for Baltimore to win. Now, I know I got the score close, 24-21, but that's how I see it. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to be Super Bowl champions. I think Ray Lewis is going to get a second ring for that finger, and I think Randy Moss is still going to have the best hands in the game because he'll never have any rings to weigh his hands down. What do you think of that, Crixus? What do you think of that? You probably like the 49ers, don't you? You do like the 49ers! Oh my God! Anyway, we'll be back next week with a final video here with Crixus! Oh my God, and... Stop! Go to sleep! Go to sleep! Go to sleep! Anyways, we'll be back next week with the final video here, and we'll go over the results of the Super Bowl, and we'll talk about how I made so many of you guys millionaires for putting your life savings on the Baltimore Ravens to win this game outright! Outright! Have a great day, people.